Hello and welcome to the Flix Forum podcast, where each episode we go back and we look at a Netflix original film in the order of release. Today we have Netflix 298th film from 2020. It's the Polish supernatural horror slasher called Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight, or in Polish, dziś, zaśnie, nikt. It's directed by Bartosz M. Kowalski and stars Julia Wieniawa, Michal, Lupa, and Wiktoria Gasiewska. I'm Jesse. Sorry about the pronunciation of the names. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, and we're getting close to 300 episodes. We're not too far away. Only a couple of weeks to go. Crazy. But we have this film to talk about today. This is an interesting film. I'm excited to discuss it. If you're keen on checking it out, give us a pause and come back a little bit later on, because we will spoil bits and pieces as we go. And we kick off the show with the Fast Flicks, where we do a quick little summary of what the film is all about. So this one is about a group of technology-addicted youths who go to a camp to cure their addiction, but there is danger in the woods. Ooh, danger in the woods. Scary. International films, often hard to find anything out about the film. This one, all I could find out, it was filmed in 23 days. They shot about 8 scenes per day. It was promoted by the crew as the first Polish slasher film ever. And it was supposed to be released theatrically in Poland on March the 13th, 2020, which coincided with Friday the 13th. However, the premiere was postponed due to concerns over the coronavirus outbreak at the time. It did hit Netflix. Once it hit Netflix on the 28th of October, 2020, it was one of the most watched titles on American Netflix after its premiere. A monthly magazine called Kino reported that the movie landed in the top 10 list of the most watched films on the platform. In March of 2021, Netflix confirmed that Kowalski, the director, and his team had officially started production on the sequel titled Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight Part 2, which was released in October of 2021. Though this did have a premiere in Poland it did play at a film festival in Poland as well, so it did have a little bit of a theatrical run at various stages too. Translations around the world. In Portuguese, this is called No Connection, so it ties in nicely with that idea that this camp is all about not having a connection to the outside world. In Finnish, it's called Forest Camp. Yeah, get it. And Hungarian, it's called Vigilant Forest. Nice. The tagline for this one: Dead without internet. Yeah, not bad. Don't mind that one at all. That's a good one. What are the critics and audiences saying about this film? So, on Rotten Tomatoes, it sits at 57% on 7 reviews. Unfortunately, that is rotten. The audience even lower, 29% on more than 100 ratings. IMDb, fairly low as well, 4.9 out of 10 on 14,000 ratings. Letterboxd, it sits at a 2.3 out of 5 on a bit over 20,000 ratings, but it's been logged by about 26,000 people. What are my early thoughts? I thought this was a blast. Pays homage to pretty much every horror film you can think of, but it includes some good commentary on society and the kills. They're all pretty good kills on screen as well, so I like that. All right, I'm going to apologise early for the character names, but let's talk about the characters. So we've got Zozia. This is sort of our main girl, I guess. I've said spoilers, so this is our survivor in the film. We see that she suffered trauma with her family. They were killed in a car accident. She survived. She self-harms. She's a little bit of an introvert, but she seems the most switched on out of all these people that are at this camp out in the woods. We've got Julek. He's this big fat gamer nerd. He has all the movie references and talks about the conventions of horror films and what they need to avoid, like having sex, splitting up, those types of things. He's sort of the scaredy cat of the group. And Nella, she's the sexy blonde who's got this reputation but wants to be known for who she actually is. Daniel, he's like this gym junkie who's actually a virgin, and he's not as cool as he tries to put across. We've got Bartek. He's a closeted gay who's struggling with society and his father accepting him for who he is. And then we've got Isa, who's the camp tour guide for the teens on their hike, and she never really stood a chance, really, did she? The villains in the woods are these monster twins. They had a nice life with their mum until they found some space rock, and it put them, they put this space rock in their room, and it turns them into a beast who eat flesh. So some weird things that we'll talk about as we go. All right, the director, Bartosz M. Kowalski, 12 directing credits, including the sequel to this film. Nothing else I've heard of. Let's talk about scenes in this film. What stood out? What wasn't very good? Stand out to me. There's a scene where there's a priest that comes to the camp to sort of hold a ceremony and cleanse them all of their addiction to technology, and he puts holy water on their devices to cleanse them. I thought that was funny. Daniel and Anella, they have this sex scene by the water, and she asks him, do you even know what a condom is? And when they're sort of finished, he's like, thanks. Funny. Daniel, these are all the kill scenes that were done well. Daniel gets belted against a tree. Isa gets killed and then her head thrown out of a cellar. We've got Anila getting a knife through her head. We've got then some other scenes we've got. I didn't like the discriminatory dialogue, but the priest, I liked it when he gets put through a mulcher. Zosier asks Julek if he can run. That was funny. There's a scene where Zosier doesn't have the passcode for Daniel's phone, so he uses his detached arm to get into it. That was funny as well. And the cop literally getting chopped in half. So a lot of those were the kills that stood out. Things I didn't like. Anila, when we first see her, she does this sexy slow-mo walk, and she's playing with her hair as she walks past the boys. And then the next morning, she's straightening her hair as well. Just, I didn't like them. Any reference to a film that Julek makes, especially The Terminator, didn't like them. And Julek, when he's taking a leak in the woods, then there is no one that has a stream of urine that big and fast. That just looked really fake, so I didn't like that. What's this film saying? I like the things that we're saying. The idea of technology addictions, teenagers being obsessed with screen time, social media, video games, the idea get out, enjoy nature, cleanse yourself, detox, those types of things. The talking, a little bit of commentary about the church in Poland, obviously, very backwards, and that church almost, or the ideology of the church create just as much fear as technology can, and Polish society too, a little bit backwards in their treatment of the gay community, and as well as politics, that idea of politics, and we see this in the final scene, the rise of Nazis really, and Polish nationalism, which it touches on a little bit too. All right, what did I take away from the film? That whole meteorite coming down and turning these twins into beasts. I just found this very outlandish. I mean, if you're going to go with something that's so sci-fi and out there, you sort of need a little bit of an explanation. Maybe that's in the sequel. Haven't watched the sequel, but that could be the case because I found that a little bit weird. Any other questions or ponderings for this one for me? The opening scene, we see a postman goes to this house with a letter. Instead of just putting the letter in the letterbox, he goes through the gate, he goes up to the front door, he knocks on the door, and then he proceeds to, there's no answer, so he goes to the cellar and opens the cellar, and the poor guy's obviously gone. Good service from the Polish post service, I guess, because I don't know a postman that would do that. That's crazy. Bartek and Daniel, they get into a little bit of a biffo, which leads to them having cuts all over his legs. I don't get this. What did this add? It added nothing. It was random. There's a line, too, about there's 15,000 people every year that disappear in the woods in Poland. Is that true? I couldn't find anything that's a lot of people that go missing in the woods. I didn't realize that was, that's like a catastrophe almost. And finally, Zosier, her backstory of the car accident of her parents. What did that have to do with anything? I don't get it. I did not get it at all. No one else got a backstory, but she did. So I thought that was a little bit out there. All right, let's wrap this up. I'll give the film a rating out of 5. For me, I really enjoyed this. Recommend it. The practical effects, the camera work, the performances, they were really good. I enjoyed the commentary as well. And while it probably doesn't break any new ground in the genre, it does a great job of keeping you engaged. So I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. Probably a little bit higher, but I enjoyed this. I had a good time. We're on socials. We got Twitter. We've formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. We've got Facebook and Instagram. Give us a follow. Give us a like. The question that I wanted to put out there is about the final scene. The police, they rock up at the twins' house. So what happens to the cops? Do they actually arrest them, or do they just mutilate them all? I have to watch the second one very soon to find out. Probably won't be able to wait. 12 months in Flix Forum time is probably about 5 years before we get onto that episode. We're back next week. Next week, we've got another 2020 film. It's a horror film as well. It's called His House. This one's directed by Remy Weeks and stars Wumi Masaku, Sophie Deruzu, and Matt Smith. I think Matt Smith, Doctor Who Matt Smith possibly. I'm excited. That's good. Join me then, and I'll see you then.